because you know what? I need a boyfriend. Well, hello peoples on the internet, my name is Kevin and welcome back to another video. So hello everybody, how are you all doing? I hope you're all doing well. So for today's video, I am going to be talking to you about my favorite books of all time. Now I have done this video before in the past, but like she's a little bit old, she's a little bit outdated. Some of the books on that now, no longer favorites, like because some of them are a series and like the series kind of went downhill after like the first couple of books, and like now it's no longer a favorite series of mine. So I was like, you know what, it's about time for an upgrade, it's time for an update, and you know what, we have some new favorite books. There are also a couple on here that were on that video back in 2017, I believe is when I filmed it, so that was a while ago. There are some books that were already on that list on here again, but there are also books that weren't on it before because they weren't released then. Also, before I get into this video, I just feel like it's about time I be very honest with you guys and tell you something that's going on right now. So today, unfortunately, when I got up and showered, got ready to film this video today, I just wasn't having a great hair day. Like, it just wasn't today. My hair was like, Kev, I'm sorry, it's just not happening. Because I feel like in my last couple of videos or like my last vlogs and stuff, I've always been wearing hats, and like when my hair gets long and like she's kind of messy, she's kind of hard to tame, I like to put a hat on it just to make it look like I look fine and everything's going great. So before this video gets started, I feel like I just have to show you what my hair is doing. Like, now she looks okay, right? It looks fine right now, but like, it's not doing its best. Like, what is that? Like, what is that? It's so long. Like, I feel like I could get like a perm at this stage because my hair is that long. And like me with a perm, I feel like that would definitely not be a good look. So, and like, I feel like when I do that, like, look how flat it looks. Like, it looks bad, okay? So that's why I'm wearing a hat once again today, because we're covering all of that up, because no. Just no. So today, guys, I'm going to be talking to you about 9 different books that are currently my favorite books of all time. Let me know down below if any of these books are your favorites too. But also, I want to play a quick little game. So I just said there's 9 books on here. I want you guys to like comment 9 books that you think it's going to be, or even if you can't think of 9 books, just like comment as many as you can think of that you think are my favorite books, and then we can see which ones you got correct. I feel like everyone should at least get 1 correct, because I talk about this book all the time and I feel like everyone knows it's my favorite book of all time. So like, you definitely should have 1, but like, I'd like to see how many you can get. Just for the fun, because I'm just feeling like in such a fun mood today, we're just gonna go with whatever amount you get correct. That's how many house points you get for your Hogwarts house, okay? Yeah. We're just making this video very fun and interactive today. I feel a little bit like Dora, like, you know, love that for me. Now, I said this before in my video that I did in 2017, but like, what I'm telling you about what my favorite books are of all time, I'm not basing it on of like how great the writing is or like how amazing it is in terms of literature. That's not what I'm basing it on. I'm basing it on how much I enjoyed it when I read it. So that's what it's based on. It's just based on my enjoyment when I was reading the book, and therefore it became a favorite book of all time. Okay, so let's just start with the one we all know is going to be on this list. Like, everyone knows about this. No one is going to be shocked when I hold this up, so we're just going to get it out of the way because I talk about it so much as it is anyways. So like, you know, we're just gonna go straight into it. And that is Love, Simon, or Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. We all know that this is a favorite book of all time for me. Like, I've said several times on my channel how much I relate to Simon, and I've never felt so represented in a book than I have with this book in particular. I feel like this book is gonna be one that's gonna stick with me for a very, very long time. And I just cannot see it not being one of my favorite books of all time, because it's the first book that I ever was like, this is me. Like, I am in this book and it just hit me with all of the feels, all the emotions. And also, I have been thinking recently that I would like to get a tattoo from this book. However, I have no idea what exactly I would get, but I have said that I would like to get a bookish tattoo, and I feel like the only book that really sticks out to me as one that I should get a tattoo from is this one, but I just don't know what I would get. Like, I've looked at ones where it's like the Ferris wheel and stuff like that. I feel like I need to reread this for like the 4th time and maybe see if I can find something that I would do for a tattoo. And yeah, I have done an entire video on this where I went through all of my different tabs, because I did annotate this, just not this copy. I have a second copy that I did annotate. I went through all of my annotations and why this book means so much to me. So if you really want to watch that video, I'll link it up here, and I'll also link it down below in the description, so you can go check that video out if you want to see more reasons why this is my favorite book of all time. Okay, so stick sticking with the obvious choices, I'm going to go with my next obvious one that I feel like a lot of people will probably not be surprised that this is on this list. And that is, of course, Harry Potter. Harry Potter is just a very important series to me. I love it with all of my heart. I have so many amazing memories with Harry Potter. Like, I remember going to see all of the different movies when they're coming out in cinema. I have memories going to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in Orlando. I have memories going to the studio tour. I have memories of just reading this book and just feeling like it's so magical and getting lost in the world, and also just wanting to be a wizard desperately and just patiently waiting for my letter that was never coming, but it's okay, I'm fine. But yeah, Harry Potter is just one of those series that I feel like we can always just get lost in, and every time we read it, we just discover more parts of it that we love each time, and it's just such a magical series and a magical world that I just don't think I'm ever going to get enough of. Even now as an adult, actually, am I an adult? I feel like technically I am, but I genuinely do not feel like an adult. But anyways, as an adult, I still very much feel like this is going to be a book that I'm going to remember for years and years, and I just love it so much. And every time you read it, it just feels like coming home. I know J.K. Rowling has said that every time you go back to Hogwarts, it's like coming home, and it's honestly so true, because it just brings back so many nostalgic vibes, and I just love Harry Potter. I feel like a lot of us love it as well, so yeah, this is one that's definitely not surprising that's one of my favorite books of all time. Obviously, this represents the entire series. I just was holding up the first book because I wasn't going to go get all of the books. Once again, we're sticking with the obvious answers, and I feel like this is the last one that was on my video in 2017. So this one, of course, is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Everyone knows, once again, that I love this series with all of my heart. Obviously, this represents the three books: A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, and A Court of Wings and Ruin. Like, all of those three books, love them so much. I do want to say that I know that these books can be very problematic, and they definitely do need a lot of work, especially with Sarah J. Maas, with her writing and her characters and her inclusivity. She definitely needs to improve on that, and I am very aware of that. But this is just a book that I fell in love with, and the characters, I just really love them all, and this story and this world is just so fascinating and fun to me, and I just remember reading these so quickly and just loving every moment of it, and I really wish that I could reread these for the very first time, but sadly I can never do that. But it's okay, I've accepted it at this point. And I also feel like I definitely need to do a reread of this book at some point, because I need to go back and annotate them all. So yeah, I think it's very apparent that this series is one of my favorites of all time. The next one that I have is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Now, this series also has mixed opinions, and it's kind of controversial at times, but I personally absolutely loved this book so much. It's like Black Panther meets Avatar, and it's just so much fun. And I remember picking this up because I saw a lot of hype, and I particularly saw Hannah from A Clockwork Reader talking about it, and I bought it based on Hannah's hype for the book, and then I picked it up and I read it, and I fell in love, and I was literally obsessed with it. And I have been patiently waiting for the sequel, but it's not coming out until December or November of this year, I believe. So the second book is still to come out, and I feel like that could also end up on my favorite list, but for right now, obviously it's not out, I haven't read it, so I don't know, but I'm very much anticipating it. This series is just so much fun. I love all of the characters in here. The only thing that I'm not 100% keen on in here is like the romance, but I feel like in the next book, she's going to end up with someone else, which is kind of what I'm hoping for. So my fingers are crossed going into the second book that the main character is going to fall for somebody else. That's really what I'm hoping for. But yeah, if you haven't picked this book up, I would highly recommend it. It's just such a fun book, and also the audiobook for this is absolutely amazing. I remember listening to this on audiobook and I just absolutely loved it. And this is also another book that I think I want to reread, especially before the second book comes out, just to like get a refresher and remember everything perfectly going into the second book. Okay, so the next book that I have is actually a graphic novel, and this is my favorite graphic novel of all time. There's no other graphic novel even in this list, so clearly this is obviously my favorite one of all time, and that is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I feel like everyone has seen this graphic novel series on BookTube, on Book Twitter, on the book blogs, everywhere, because this graphic novel series is just so freaking cute. Like, I just cannot deal, and it just makes me feel so single. Like, I love that for me, because you know what? I need a boyfriend, but it's fine. And yeah, so this book follows a male romance, and it's just so freaking cute. I don't want to say too much about it, because when I picked this up, I honestly didn't know too much about it. I just got recommended it, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna read it. And this is actually before there was a physical copy of it and before all of the hype, and I read it and I absolutely loved it. So I'm just gonna read the little bit at the back. It literally just says, boy meets boy, boys become friends, boys fall in love. And it's just such a cute graphic novel. I guarantee if you pick this up, your heart is just gonna feel so warm and you're just gonna like fangirl over how adorable it is, because it's just such a cute graphic novel and I just couldn't recommend it enough. So the next favorite book of mine that I have to talk about is Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love this book so much, and I feel like a lot of people on BookTube, Book Twitter, all love this so much. And if you don't know what this is about, I'm gonna give you a little brief synopsis. So basically this follows a young girl named Monique, who is a journalist and she works for this magazine company. And then one day this famous Hollywood star named Evelyn Hugo, who is now an elderly woman, contacts Monique because she wants Monique to run a story on her life. Because Evelyn Hugo is very famous for having 7 husbands, and she was also just a Hollywood star and just everyone knows and loves her. So Monique is obviously very excited about this because it could be her big break. And basically she goes to Evelyn Hugo's house, and Evelyn basically tells Monique her life story and how she rose to become a Hollywood star and how she met all of her 7 husbands, what happened in each relationship. And it's just such an amazing book. Like, you're just gonna be very sad when you finish it and that it's over, and also you're gonna think Evelyn is a real person, and you're gonna be very sad when you realize she's fictional, because I was devastated. Also recently this book just got announced that it's going to be adapted into a TV show, which I am very excited about. When I saw that, I almost cried because I just love this book so much, and I've been dying for it to be adapted because I think it would make such an amazing TV show or a movie. But I always wanted a TV show. I was like, this would just make such a good TV show, and now we are getting that adaptation. However, it's going to be on Freeform, which I don't know how I feel about that, because we all know Freeform were over Shadowhunters, and like, I wasn't a big fan of that TV show. I literally couldn't even make it so far into season 2. Like, I just got so mad with it, so I just couldn't watch anymore. So I don't know how I feel that it's going to be on Freeform. However, I do have hope because I know Taylor Jenkins Reid is writing the script, so that's always a good sign. Also, the creative producers that are over it were also over the show The L Word, so I know it's going to be in the right hands in terms of the LGBT topics that are in this book. So I have hope. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we're going to get a good adaptation, and hopefully it's not going to be bad. They're not going to ruin one of my favorite books of all time. So I am remaining optimistic until they give me a reason otherwise not to. The next book on here, I feel like you all probably could have predicted that this author at least was going to be on this list. I'm hoping you would have predicted the author, and that is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. He is one of my favorite authors of all time. Every single one of his books I've given 5 out of 5 stars. I love his books and his work so freaking much. This one in particular is my favorite of his. I do have another one that I could have talked about, which is More Happy Than Not. More Happy Than Not and this one in particular are my favorites of his, but I feel like when I think of Adam Silvera, this is always the one I remember breaking my heart the most. So if you don't know what this book is about, it basically follows this world where there's this company called Deathcast, and they basically phone you up and they let you know that you're going to die sometime in the next 24 hours. So basically you get warned that you're going to die in the next 24 hours. It could be any time during those 24 hours, but you just know you're going to die. And our 2 main characters in here, Mateo and Rufus, get told that they are both going to die, and they both meet each other and stuff like that. I'm not going to say much more, but it's just very cute and adorable. It is a book that's going to absolutely break your heart. I couldn't recommend this more. I feel like this is probably Adam Silvera's best book so far, because I know he has more books coming out in the future, but right now I feel like this is his best book so far. So if you haven't read an Adam Silvera book, I would highly recommend that you pick this one up because it's just so good. Also, it's another book that's getting turned into a TV show on HBO. Now that has me very excited because it's going to be on HBO, so like, we stan, like, that's such a good network to be on, like, we love that. So I'm very optimistic for that TV show, and I feel like once again this could be a really good TV show, so I'm very excited about that. But yeah, I think this would be such a good adaptation, and I feel like they could do this perfectly and it could break everyone's hearts, so I'm really hoping it's gonna be amazing, and once again they don't ruin one of my favorite books of all time. Okay, so the next book that I have to talk to you guys about is one that I actually read this year, and it has instantly become one of my favorite books of all time. It's probably gonna be my favorite book of this year also, and that is Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I feel like everyone has been raving about this book. It is just so good, so freaking cute, and I feel like as a gay man, this is kind of a book I've always wanted to read, if that makes sense. And I shall tell you why it is a book that I've always wanted to read when I tell you a little bit about the synopsis. So this book follows our main character named Alex, who is the son of the President of the United States, who is also the first female President of the United States. And for many years now, Alex has had a very strong hatred towards Henry, who is the Prince of Wales. And then one day at a wedding, Henry and Alex have a confrontation, and it looks like that they are sworn enemies, which obviously in the political eye is not very great to see that the son of the President of the United States and the Prince of Wales are enemies, and they are forced to act like they're actually best friends. And then who knows, maybe they start catching feelings, maybe they start falling in love. I don't know, you'll have to find out for yourself. But yes, as I was saying earlier, the reason why this has always been a book that I just wanted to read is because there are several movies out there in the world where a girl falls in love with the prince. But now we have one where like a boy falls in love with the prince, maybe, who knows? I'm not gonna say spoilers. It's just something I've always wanted to read because I've always seen it with like a heterosexual relationship. So obviously I want to see one where it's a male and male romance. This is just one I've always wanted to read, and I'm so glad it exists. And also this is becoming a movie. So I just love that like all of my favorite books are getting adapted, but like at the same time it makes me really anxious because they need to be done correctly, because this could be such an amazing movie, but like if they do it wrong, I'm going to be so devastated because this book is so good and it's just captured so many people's hearts around the world because we all love it so much. So if they do it wrong, we will no longer trust the media. And then finally, the last book that I have on here is one that has two of my favorite authors of all time, and that is What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. This is a book that came out last year that I was highly anticipating because we all know I love Becky Albertalli, I love Adam Silvera, and when I found out that they were doing a book together, you know I was losing my mind. This book lived up to my expectations and my hype because in this book I could just easily distinguish the characters. Like I was able to tell which author was which I personally love. I love when you can tell the differences between the authors, because sometimes I feel like when the writing is just so similar and you don't know who's writing which parts. For some reason I just don't like that, but in this one I could tell when it was Adam writing the parts, and I could also tell when Becky was writing it, which I personally loved. And also, by the way, if you don't know what this book's about, it follows two main characters who meet each other at the post office, and they have like an instant connection with each other, but they never swap details with each other, they don't get each other's phone numbers, so then they're trying to find each other because it's kind of like the one that got away, and maybe they find each other, maybe they start a romance. But yeah, it's just so cute and adorable, and it takes place in New York City. And once again, this is another book that is getting adapted, and once again they have to do this correctly or I'm going to be upset. I feel like once again, I feel like I'm absolutely repeating myself so much throughout this video, but I feel like this could be such a great movie if it's done correctly. So yeah, if you guys haven't read this one, I would highly recommend that you pick it up, especially if you love Becky Albertalli and you also love Adam Silvera. This one will make you so happy. The only controversy I've seen about this book is that some people really love the ending and then some people really hate the ending, but me personally, I love the ending because it kind of leaves it like open, and I kind of like open endings. I'm giving you that as like a forewarning in case you want to pick this book up, and maybe if you are someone who absolutely hates open endings, then maybe you won't enjoy the ending of this one. So there we have it, guys. I have been talking for far too long. Like, I don't know how short or long this video is going to be, but I can tell you I have been sitting here for nearly an hour talking about these books, so that concerns me, but also at the same time, they're my favorite books of all time, so what did we expect? Like, we all knew I was gonna not shut up talking, so we knew this. But yeah, that is going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know down below how many of the 9 books you got correct. How many points did you score for your Hogwarts house? Let me know down below. I'd love to know if someone got all 9 correct. If you did, bravo. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I shall see you all next time in my next one. So goodbye, guys.